What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesOfNeckbeards. Alrighty, here we have a return from Science Beard, okay? It's called, More Questionable Interactions with Science Beard, featuring lunch friends. Hey y'all, it's Kay from the last post of me realizing I have a neckbeard in my Earth and Space class. I have a few other stories of this kid. I was telling the last story to my friends in Sea Lunch. Everyone in this lunch group knows of this neckbeard and told me some odd things about this dude. Here's the cast. There's me, Kay the narrator, Hispanic, lesbian, lover of dad caps and denim jackets, listener of rap, trap, and hip-hop, watcher of cartoons and anime, artist, mellowing out right now, still got a mouth on me though, in mourning because I can't go to Rolling Loud 2020 down in Miami. Skater boy, a greasy yet funny dude, lanky, a frick boy, acne scars and long hair, still smells nice surprisingly, skates, obviously, but drives to school, Thrasher hoodies and beat up vans, actually smart despite smoking like the world is gonna end, is in a few on-campus college courses, similar tastes in music to me, insert crackles of a vape, I'm not gonna do that.
Art fave, my anime friends, a good friend of mine, small, cute, and Korean, knows how to dress from cute skirts and sweaters to baggy dad jeans and streetwear anime tees. Incredibly intelligent and talented, avid anime watcher, is an AP Arts. I was in there until I was dropped into credit recovery. Nice to all. I go to her for good music and anime recommendations. I consider her neckbeard bait minus her absolute love for Playboy Carti. Salad, chill, mutual, gorgeous girl, tall in my English class, artist, dressing to no end, always working on homework or art, yoga pants and cute Adidas jackets and windbreakers, understanding and sweet, has tea about everyone. I'm calling her Salad because she works at some small salad chain. She isn't much to this story. She was texting her friends and doing psychology homework.
Science Beard, the man, the myth, the beard. We're talking about him. He wasn't in the library with I'm done with this voice.
Thank God. Large, 6'4", and fat. Weird. Full-grown neckbeard with a wispy mustache, basketball shorts, and New Balance sneakers with a tight graphic tee. Plays obscure RPGs in D&D, no fedora. It's the fedora that counts though. Let's begin. My group was in the library, sitting in the far back, eating snacks and vibing. I was just done telling Skater Boy and Art Fave my story with Science Beard and the look on their faces. Perplexed, but like it was familiar. They both asked me what he looked like and his name. I gave them a good description and Science Beard's real name. It clicked to both of them. The "oh" echoed in the crowded library and they both instantly quiet down. Art Fave whispering to the lower chances of us getting kicked out,
I know that fricker. I had him in one of my classes sophomore year. I think it was math or AP World History.
Me giggling like a fourth grader. I'm telling you, he's off his craps. Skater Boy chuckling. Everyone in football and athletics told me this dude has this. Insert the gross fact Skater Boy tells us. I gag as he goes into great detail about Beard's, private parts, then explaining how. Science Beard was in football. I can understand how he would have been picked. Most of the football players are bulky and lean, so having a large, stay-puffed marshmallow man would have helped our chances to go into playoffs. Science Beard was a sore thumb in the group, considering how our beard acts. Everyone hated Science Beard because how intelligent he acted, thinking not wanting a girlfriend was a personality trait, to a large hormone and rage team. I knew a few of the football players from my weird middle school phase. I still talk to them on Snapchat and have 2 classes with a few who are still good friends of mine. Believe it or not, they are not crappy people at all. They're funny and like to horseplay, so there's that. They don't take crap lying down either. They do so when it comes to the coaches though. Science Beard got into some deep crap with one of the coaches and a popular player for arguing with them and boasting about it. Art Fave adds on, Science Beard was in one of her sophomore classes and she was forced to sit by him through the whole school year. She complained about how Science Beard would just stare at her. Big eyes, leaning in, the whole 9 yards. She was so uncomfortable and tried to talk about it with her teacher, who seemed to blow it off, telling her, "He's just trying to be friendly, maybe he's shy." Would always try to correct classmates and even the teacher. You can imagine how that turned out. Art Fave believed he was on the spectrum due to his behavior around her and others. I cannot blame her for thinking that because everyone also thought that for a time. It wasn't until she asked him about it and he replied,
Of course not. What makes you think that?
Salad gets in on the conversation, talking about how she saw and heard Science Beard growl at a poor, unsuspecting freshman who accidentally bumped into him during passing period. He would push girls and boys out of the way to get through. I began to think about my interactions with Science Beard. He hissed and screeched at me in the hallways, and I almost threw a punch. I didn't though, because there was a teacher in the area. He made loud dinosaur noises during a dinosaur documentary for extra credit for the whole class period, despite everyone's annoyance. Would not stop, even when the teacher told him to shut up. Got visibly upset when there was a dinosaur sex scene. The camera panned away from it. The sounds can still be heard. Ended up telling the teacher who scolded him, yelling at him to get over it. Made unwanted remarks and puns and laughed at his own jokes. Would look around for everyone's reaction. I'm thinking he got a kick out of everyone being irritated. Everyone in the group listens in, laughs, and tells the encounters with the beard until the bell rings. Art Fave, Skater Boy, Salad, and I make haste to our last class, leaving the library. It was Friday after all. We all say our goodbyes and make way, leaving Science Beard lunch talk in the library, where it belongs. That's all I have for y'all. I hope y'all enjoy this addition to Science Beard. Okay, so we can make fun of him without worrying about him actually being, on the spectrum. What a freaking weirdo. Okay. This story's called Moo, the Remaster. Hello once again, everyone. Due to the overwhelming popularity and demand for this, I have returned to write one more of the beardos I once knew oh so long ago. This one is more of your classic neckbeard specimen. I told this story, like the others, once a long time ago. Those stories are lost to the void of the internet, so once again, let me reintroduce you to Moo. When I say he's more classical, I mean that. With a certain twist, however. Moo did have an obsession with a certain game, which is why I chose this name for him. He didn't wash but once a month. His room could be smelled from anywhere in his house, I assume. I'll get to that. He did creep on many girls, and I'll get into that soon as well. The twist? During the time I knew Moo, and in his depths of his total neckbeardery, he was 30. Yeah, I first met him as a totally grown man, and he was just like this. Always like this. It was concerning, to say the least. I guess a good place to start is his room, or rooms rather. See, Moo lived with his mother and stepfather, and the house had 3 bedrooms, counting the master, a storage room, and a massive living room, kitchen, dining room combo. Moo at one point moved from one room to another because the nest had just become so foul that he bailed on it and started over with a new nest. But there's more to this even still. Let's just start with the first room and work our way from there. When I first started hanging with him, he was living in this one room that was a good size. It was longer than it was wide. The only reason that is important is because the actual size of the room that you could use was tiny. There was so much trash and junk that the room had reduced in size, mostly due to just his pile of mattresses. Yes, he didn't have a bed, just several mattresses stacked on each other. And yes, he thought this was genius. A small TV stand, his game console, and just enough room to access half of a dresser. Some of you will know this if you've ever been inside a neckbeard nest and forced to be nice. You know that thing you do when you're in a nest like that and you're always looking for the cleanest place to step or sit or whatever? I had to do that a lot while hanging out with Moo. Keep in mind that I always wear combat boots, but even then I wasn't convinced that they were up to the task of dealing with this level of pure filth. But it gets worse. Oh yeah, see, Moo came by his neckbeard nesting skills very naturally. His mother was a massive hoarder. The house was a wreck all the time. Imagine the average neckbeard nest, now spread that over a large house. You see the level with which we are working now? Well, hold on to that because there is so much more. Again, back to first knowing him, Moo had a girlfriend. A legbeard girlfriend at that. Oh yeah, the rare yet somehow logical neckbeard-legbeard pairing. I use that term a bit loosely though. They were in the stages of breaking up when I started talking to him. She was living in another room and never spoke to him unless she really had to. It was really awkward. If you can believe it, a beardo breakup is somehow worse than when they flirt. lots of petty crap and weird arguments. It was like watching a high school breakup, but they're both in their 30s. When she eventually moved out, he moved rooms. Not into her old room, mind you, but into the other empty room that was kinda his stepfather's library. Soon, it was as much of a wreck as the other room, but worse, because he had acquired a cat at some point. And if you think he cleaned litter boxes, oh honey. But let's leave his room behind for a moment, shall we? Let's talk about where he spent most of his time, the computer. See, Moo's mom was a firm believer in the family computer. They all shared this one ancient, aging, slowly rusting desktop. It was from back in the days of white plastic housings, but the whole family smoked like trains, so it was more of a yellow-brown color at this point. It was also on this desk. It was more like a dump in the shape of a desk. Trash covered every inch of this thing, so much so that you couldn't see wires anywhere on the computer. There was a trash can near the desk, but it was never emptied, just piled higher and higher with fast food containers, cigarette boxes, and soda bottles. Moo liked to play this one MMO game constantly, and he would tell you all about it. Constantly. I remember having more than one conversation about some item in the game being plus this and plus that, but I have no idea what any of that means since I never played that game. He would basically sit at the computer, playing that game and talking to people online all day, then late into the night, crash, and do it again. I once saw him open the browser to look something up, and there were so many of those ad toolbars that it gives me nightmares just picturing it. His excuse?
Oh, my mom always opens that virus stuff. I can't get it off.
I mentioned reformatting the drive and starting over clean, but that was
too much work.
It also got to the point that starting up took forever from all the viruses and spamware. His solution? Never turn off the computer again. I knew Moo for several years. I think he shut down that computer twice. Thinking about that makes my inner tech nerd scream in terror. I went this long without telling you about his appearance, and that's kinda for a reason. Leave everyone wanting more, as they say. Let's start with the top. Yes, he did have a full-on neck beard. It was once a goatee, but he only trimmed it when he bathed, and that was once a month at best. So you can imagine how unruly and horrible this was. He was also balding, which is why he wore a hat everywhere he went. Surprisingly, not a fedora. Usually some kind of baseball cap that was so stained from being worn for several days in a row that the color started to run. He never brushed his teeth, so they were practically glowing yellow from years of neglect. And he would talk constantly, so hope you're okay with bad breath. His usual attire didn't consist of trench coats, but he did have a desire to have one. This is South Louisiana, however, and the trench coat in the summer is a total death wish. In that fashion, he usually wore tank tops or t-shirts. They were almost always covered in stains from food or had holes in them or both. If you thought he was wearing deodorant, you're so sorely mistaken. However, he did believe heavily in the old Chris Chan method of bathing. Spray yourself with Axe and you're fine. Spoiler, it wasn't fine. The cargo shorts though, he did wear a lot. Several pairs in several colors, but like the shirts, they were covered in stains and holes and whatnot. I try not to think about it too much. Another neckbeard staple was the shoes. Not the sneakers, though he did have some. He rarely wore those. No, he preferred what we like to call the musty mandals. You know those ornate-looking leather sandals that men can get at Walmart? Yeah, those. No socks though.
Socks are constricting.
Actual quote. Now that you have a full body picture, you can just imagine the smell. Hold on, let me make it worse. He changed clothes maybe once a month as well. Yes, he slept in those clothes. I can't even imagine that. Like, the thought makes my skin crawl. So this is where I'm gonna end this. Once again, this is an overview. I wanted to introduce you all to the neckbeards I know before telling their tales. It's easier for me, honestly. It feels like I'm writing some kind of deep lore. A horrible, horrible deep lore. I promise more actual stories are coming. It's just kind of taking me a bit with all my other projects. But I didn't forget about you all. Thanks again for everyone reading this, and thanks to Tim Tam Tom for putting me in his video. That was really awesome. Love you all, Moonhorse. Dude, why was he friends with all these people? Like, honestly, at some point you gotta you gotta upgrade your circle, man. Just saying. But goodness gracious, that guy has some severe mental health issues. Oh my gosh, man, he needs to get outside. Literally, just getting outside, that's a good first step, and maybe trying to put more effort into grooming yourself. I know it might seem like it's a bit of work, but you gotta give yourself that. And then it'll become a routine, and then it'll feel less of a chore and more of an obligation. You know what I mean? This story's called Parking Lot Neckbeard, Weirdest Moment I've Ever Had. Today I had been making a road trip for my uncle's annual Super Bowl party reunion. He lives in another state. So I've been on the road for about 10 hours, and I am starving. I got something from McDonald's and stopped in a parking lot of the Kroger's nearby to eat. Now, I was eating like a pig, not gonna lie. I was just stuffing fries in my mouth like I hadn't eaten in years. I just wanted to get done as soon as possible. I had my window cracked because it's hot. Next thing I know, I hear knocking on my window. I jumped 3 feet in the air and could feel my heart beating. Outside my window was this guy. He had the typical neckbeard and was overweight. He asked, "You gonna eat all those fries?" And then stuck his hand into my open window and asked, "Give me some of those fries," with his palm open. He just stood there like that for quite a while, at least a minute, but then walked off and laughed. "Fine, be selfish." He didn't seem hostile or anything, he was laughing the whole time, but I still was freaked out. I was planning to go into Kroger myself, but just pulled off, not wanting to run into him again. Okay, that is definitely weird. That is, okay, that would make me uncomfortable too. But thank God it wasn't near your place, right? Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.